Hey guys, Colby here. Welcome back to another Raid Share Legends video. I hope you're having a good morning. I'm up with my coffee today and we've got some big news, and it's crazy what they're mentioning here. And I'm also going to go over the Fragment event calendar for specifically Supreme Elhain. I will cover her in a video since I have her built on the test server already. I have my own thoughts on her and whether all of this is worth it. And you got to take this into your approach into going these events, especially if you are a free-to-play low spender mid-game player who cannot possibly compete in all of the tournaments and events, because this one will be a tough one. Okay, getting things started, right? We've got the 4th anniversary gift that is mentioned here by Raid, that if you manage to get all 4 Supreme Void legendaries, which is insane. From what I know, Plarium mentioned that you can only get them through Void Shards, so I'm not sure. They might have been lying, okay, that it's only from Void Shards, and we might have more events for Supreme Aethel, Supreme Kale, and Supreme Galak, and Supreme Elhain will be from the Fusion, okay? So we might have more stuff like Champion Training Competition, we might have Champion Chase Competition, we might have all of that, and if you manage to get all 4, you get these rewards, which is 2 chickens, 1 tome, 50 void brews, 50 multi-battles times 5, which is basically nothing, honestly. If you put all this effort, they give you the equivalent of like $20 worth of value. 50, it's not 50, $30, less than $30 worth of value. Okay, anyway, this is for their 4th anniversary gift, or whatever they want to call it. It's kind of funny to me. Let's have a look at the Fragment event calendar, because that's where I want you guys to focus here. And this is where I got a little bit upset. We have some of the tournaments already, and I'll cover those as well, and my thought process behind in approaching those. And boom, here it is, the Fragment event calendar. This has been posted by Plarium. Really big thing that I want to note is that the Fragment event calendar has 150 fragments this time around. We usually get 155 in total, which means they've kept the tournament rewards the same as 5 extra fragments if you manage to get on top of the leaderboards, but they've reduced the amount of fragments that you can get from other areas. And this will make it much harder for everyone to complete it. So you only have 10 fragments that you can possibly miss. 10 fragments only that you can possibly miss. Have that in mind before you go, and if anything happens, summoning, which is the most difficult one, will make you lose this fragment, okay? Fragment fusion. 10 fragments only, and it's honestly from the tournament chase, champion chase that we have today. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So, having a look at the events right here, I'll copy what my friend Chosen does, and he notes this on the screen. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. Boom, there we go, just to have everything in sight. And we have the champion chase tournament that starts today. That's 15 fragments only, 5 and 10, okay? And the 5 if you top the leaderboard. So for this one, you can possibly only miss 10 fragments, and then everything else you have to complete, right? Everything else you have to complete. You don't need to top the leaderboards, but everything, all the events and all the tournaments that follow this, you have to complete if you miss the 10 fragments for this Elhain. Just have that in mind. Have that in mind. This is huge. This one is huge. The same thing with the summon rush that is follows here. You can either get the 10 today, so 15 in total, and miss 10 from the summon rush, but we don't know. The summon rush might have 5 and 15 fragments. So you'll get screwed 100% if that happens. So I would say if you're gonna miss some fragments, miss them from this one, from the champion chase tournament. But don't go too hard on yourself if you miss Supreme Elhain. She's good. She's a good legendary nuker, not the best, not top tier by any means in terms of all the other legendary nukers, and we'll eventually get more nukers. All right, they do fusions for nukers multiple times a year. They do supports, they do nukers, okay? So just have that in mind. And this is extremely difficult. We'll get 1 sacred from the free reward, but that doesn't mean you'll get the points here, and it doesn't mean you'll get the easy point here. It might be 5,000 points for this summon rush, and this one I'll show you how many points it is, but it's honestly It's gonna be a tough one, okay? Dungeon Divers, this one that goes on right now for 5 fragments. This goes on for 4 days, okay? And you have the chance to do it during the Spider Tournament, right? And the Champion Training Tournament. So that's good. It's you double dip into points. Have that in mind to start Dungeon Divers with Spider Tournament and Champion Training Tournament. But be very careful with the points that you get. It might not work with the hard version of the dungeons. We don't know yet. They did mention that some of the tournaments, the points that you get might not count from hard version of the dungeons. Have that in mind, and I wonder if the hard mode dungeons will give more rewards. I don't think. It's all about the loot, so mythical items probably give you more points, but I still don't know if that works, okay? I will have to check with Plarium. Just have that in mind. Be very careful when you see your run finish that you get the points. Artifact enhancement, these take upwards 20 million easy. So you have 1, 2 here, 3, all right? Oh my God, my painting skill. So you're gonna need 50 million easily to finish the artifact enhancement. There's no way around it. Artifact enhancement, you level up an item to 4 to 8 and then you sell it. That's the easiest way to get points. And be careful with your silver. If you want to be quick, you level them to 16. Better to level up artifacts and not accessories, because accessories cost almost double, sometimes upwards to 4 million if you get very unlucky. If you level an accessory to 16, I would level those only if I'm very rich in my silver, which I'm not on my personal account. I've got like 60 million, which is cutting it close, honestly, for this fragment fusion. We're gonna have another Dungeon Divers 2 and Champion Training. So they've limited the events. They should have honestly had 1 more event or even 2 more events to make this as a 4th anniversary champion that everybody gets, not make it so difficult. And talking about the difficulty, then we're gonna have some Dragon tournaments, Ice Golem, Classic Arena. Those are pretty obvious. You see the points, you aim for them, and you get them, okay? I'm just noting that this one will be a very difficult one. And just to compare on how it was in the past, okay, let me show you guys this. This is a screenshot of somebody. Ooh, let me let me remove this. Okay, this is a screenshot of somebody who was taking track of past fusions. Not all of the past fusions, not of the more recent ones, but the points that we get from Champion Chase, that we need from Champion Chase to get the fragments, the 5 and the 10, were 1150, some were 750. Look at that. Some were 1550 for Mother Cybele. Look at that, 1550 points. 1650 for the 5 fragments. Some had 2200 for Corrado, but it only was 1 event on getting these. So the lowest was 750, the highest was 1650, and on the higher side of fragments we had 1550, and the highest was 3000, with 2500 being the average in terms of how many points you need to get. So 2500 points, you get 500 for the legendary, remember, 250 for a normal epic, and if it's a void you get more points. You get 650 for a legendary, and you get I think 350 for a void epic, just to remind you guys of the points. That is for what we had in the past, and I'm not sure this has gone up with the recent fusions, but talking about Plarium screwing us over, starting with the Dungeon Divers. The Dungeon Divers needs 4450 points to get the 5 fragments, so this is already very difficult. For mythical, you do get a little bit more points, but the mythical drop rate, from what I know, it's 5% on the highest level of hard mode dungeons. So it's still very difficult, and it's not like this is always going to happen. If you farm hard mode dungeons, you'll get either the 5-star or the 6-star, which is, it's all right. It's still there, but most of the time you'll get epics. You'll even get rares. So the drop rates are there, okay? For the champion chains, let's have a look at the points. I've seen them, and that's why I was recording for the video. Have a look at that. 3200 points to get Supreme Elhain 10 fragments and 1,400. So if we remember the screen that I showed before, boom, look at that. From 1,150, we jump up to 1,400. So we are way above the average. Way above the average. We are not the highest amount of points ever required. And for the highest, we have now the highest costing 10 fragments, which I believe are 3,200. This will not be easy to get these. This is a lot of mystery shards, a lot of ancient shards, a lot of sacred shards, a lot of void shards that you need to pull to get these. Even if you had some fusion saved up, okay, right here, which is the free-to-play way to go, you will still need to probably do more summons to get something. We now have the 2x on sacred, so it's a good time to summon and hopefully get something. But remember, sacreds also give you a ton of points for summoning events. So summoning events, you get a ton of points there from sacred. You get 500 each. So have that in mind, that if you open them now, then you potentially miss on summoning event if you open your sacreds. I've got a few sacreds. I will probably be pulling them, because even if I pull the 5, that's still a long way to go for me to get something. But if I get a legendary, that helps it a little bit in terms of getting this done. Okay, so that being said, this was the video, guys. What do you think of the Supreme Elhain Fragment calendar? I think it's gonna be very difficult for the free to play, almost impossible. Even with the free sacred that we'll get, I think the free sacred comes in tomorrow, 14 hours. Even with that, it doesn't guarantee anything for the most part. For 88% of the case, right? It's 12% chance to get a legendary. 88% of the time, we'll get an epic. So that's just 250 points. So just have that in mind, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.